Hello and welcome to the 𝗥𝗶𝗴𝗵 podcast. Today I have the privilege of speaking with Issa Amro, a Palestinian human rights defender from Hebron, West Bank, Palestine. In 2007, Issa founded Youths Against Settlements, inspired by non-violent thinkers like Gandhi and Martin Luther King Jr. He has been internationally recognized, speaking at forums such as the UN Human Rights Council. And in 2024, Youths Against Settlements and Issa were awarded the Right Livelihood Award, sometimes referred to as the alternative Nobel Prize. Today we will explore his frontline work in non-violent resistance, daily life under occupation, and what global solidarity can do to support Palestinian freedom. Welcome, Issa, and thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me today. I'm very much looking forward to our conversation. So if we can begin, can you tell me about your upbringing in Hebron and what led you to activism?
What led me to activism was the occupation, the inequality, the apartheid, and the miserable life we live as Palestinians. So it was a kind of a duty for me. I was forced to do what I am doing. It was not optional. And I started my activism when the Israeli military closed my university in 2003. And for me, it was about getting my education. It was not against occupation. So it was an education. So for us, to earn life, to get educational degree, you have to fight Palestinian. To travel, you have to fight the occupation. To visit your friends, you have to fight the occupation. So for us, existence is the resistance. So to remain in the occupied territories, we resist the Israeli occupation. So this is how I started. I started from my university time when the university was closed, and then I graduated after I managed to reopen the Israeli when I managed to reopen my university against the Israeli military. Well, I graduated as an engineer and as an activist, and my life had two parallel lines: working as an engineer and becoming a non-violence activist, leading my community to make the occupation and the apartheid costly.
Yeah, so why did you choose non-violence when there was so much violence around you? What was it that made you realize that that was the better path for you?
I was touched by the American civil rights movement led by Martin Luther King, and I was touched by the anti-apartheid movement in South Africa, and I was touched by Gandhi and other Palestinian activists in the 80s who led their communities against the Israeli military, especially in 𝗵𝗀𝗄𝗆 and other Christian villages in Palestine, who were protesting, who were doing strikes and trying to make the occupation costly. I studied the Palestinian First Intifada, which was 80% nonviolence activism and campaigning. And I chose nonviolence resistance because I wanted to choose a type of resistance which will neutralize the aggression machines of the Israeli military and to bring more people to join. Because nonviolence resistance, it's a moral act with principles, sees the human being as the most important asset, and we all can do nonviolence resistance. So to join more Palestinians around me, and it was about to join more Palestinian students around me, I started nonviolence resistance as a tactic. That was my start. Then by time, after many achievements, and after reading more and more, my ideology changed from tactic nonviolence resistance to strategic nonviolence resistance. And to be very honest, it's working. We are doing great achievements on the ground. We're doing a lot of campaigns. Our voice is really heard somewhere here, all over here and all over the world. So this is what's going on, and this is what we do on the ground as Palestinian nonviolence activists these days.
So your time is divided between youths against settlements, or is your resistance overall in every area?
Yeah, I am an activist in Youth Against Settlements, in another organization called Working for Peace and Justice, and other organizations in South Mount Hebron, in other cities and villages in around Hebron, and sometimes outside Hebron near Bethlehem, near Jordan Valley. So I try to be everywhere, but I'm focusing on Hebron these days.
Okay, so can you tell us what is a typical day like in Hebron under military occupation?
Military occupation is controlling all aspects of our life as Palestinians. So the military occupation controls export, Palestinian export, Palestinian import. So the Israeli military controls how many cows we import per year. So if we exceed a certain number of cows, they don't allow us as Palestinians. So they control our food. Export, the same. Raw materials, we import, they control the raw materials. They control how much electricity we consume, because we Palestinians are not allowed to generate electricity, and we buy electricity from Israeli company. And the Israeli company sells us only 2/3 of what we need. For example, in Hebron, we need 150 mega. They sell us only 100 mega. So we are always asking for basic services, basic needs. Water is a nightmare here. The Israeli military and the settlers, they are controlling Area C and the water aquifers in Area C, which means it's the Palestinian water. And so we as Palestinians, we are not allowed to dig for water aquifers to take out water, but we are forced to buy water from an Israeli water company called Mikurot. And Mikurot sells us only 20% of what we need for our human need, water. So in summer, we don't take a shower a day. We don't have plants to water them around the house. Why? Because we don't have water. Water is a nightmare for Palestinians. So the basic services for Palestinians, we don't have them. I'm talking about West Bank. I'm talking about Hebron. I'm talking about a Palestinian city under the Palestinian Authority control, not under Hamas control.
Yes.
And the Palestinian Authority, day and night, they are calling for peace, calling for coexistence, calling for international law. That's the typical day before October 7th. That's the situation here. My typical day is that I don't leave my house on Friday because I'm afraid the checkpoints will be closed. So I try to visit neighbors, to talk to neighbors in one community. I feel surrounded. I feel separated. I feel attacked by the Israeli settlers and the Israeli soldiers. This is the typical day that you are not allowed to leave your house. You stay in the house, and the settlers may come and attack you in your house. This is the typical day in H2 in Hebron. As a Palestinians, you have no security, no basic services, and no social life, and for sure, no national identity.
So how does surveillance and checkpoints, and in particular surveillance, how pervasive is surveillance? I mean, for example, is your communications being on the surveillance as we speak?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure, they observe all my life details, from cell phone to my social media to now. They spy on me, not only on me, not only on Issa, an activist, and every single Palestinian. Albert, it's not only about security. We are a training object for their new apps.
Right.
They do simulation. In engineering language, we say simulation, test. They practice their technology and technologies on us. So I have two entrances to the house, one from here and one from here. From this side, CCTV cameras are located on Palestinian house here. Another CCTV camera from here. They watch who's coming to visit me. They watch me when I leave. They know with facial recognition and with artificial intelligence. They have, applications to profile us: blue wolf, red wolf, white wolf. And these applications, they try them on us. They test them on us. The surveillance with artificial intelligence, facial recognition, eyes recognition, nose recognition, maybe your body recognition. We don't know what technology they use against us, because this technology is used against our will. We didn't give them the consent about using this technology in our own cities, and we don't know what type of data they collect. So at the checkpoints, they have surveillance everywhere, and they have a smart shooter. And these surveillance systems only against Palestinians. So Israeli settlers, they are not part of these applications, red wolf or blue wolf or white wolf. It's only about one certain ethnicity, who are the Palestinians, are monitored, spied at, and labeled and profiled. We are only the ones who are profiled. I am a human rights defender, and I'm profiled. I'm profiled red. My settler neighbors here, who are very violent Israeli settler, and they are terrorists, they are not profiled, and nobody, try to monitor what they do, because they are Israelis. So this is what we say, apartheid, technology apartheid.
So how are manufacturers benefiting from the occupation? International manufacturers that are doing business, say, for instance, with the UK and Germany and US and whoever, that are doing business on the normal day-to-day events, how are they benefiting from the occupation in the West Bank?
They test their technologies on humans without their consent, with cheap, many animal rights organizations, they prevent testing any technology on animals. So here, the international companies, as HP and other companies, they test their technologies on us. They do the simulation on humans without their consent. So they benefit. They try. It was tested and it was very successful in Hebron. This is how they are using us as a human being, as it's a kind of a lab.
Right.
They do their training on us. They train their AIs on us. They test their own AI technological system, the advanced surveillance systems and the advanced technology systems on humans. And we are the humans who are living under occupation without any basic rights, without any possibility of saying no for free.
So is that also the same, obviously with weapons of war, is Palestine basically a laboratory for the military complex, the industrial complex?
For sure. Palestine, Hebron, I see smart shooters in Hebron, in the main checkpoint. And when I asked, why you need a smart shooter in a staffed checkpoint? The soldiers are in the checkpoints. Why you need a smart shooter? They told me, Issa, it's a private company from Tel Aviv testing the system on us. So yes, we feel that we are in a lab, not only here, Gaza too.
So
all over, they test their bombs, their technologies, their new systems on Palestinians. So Palestine is a laboratory for international weapons organizations or international advanced surveillance and technology solutions. They cooperate with the Israeli occupation and apartheid to test these systems on humans. So yes, and I'm calling everybody hearing me now to act against this. This is immoral. This is against our will. We didn't give any consent to be in a laboratory or to test any technology on us.
So how big of what part of the Israeli economy is cyber intelligence and weapons manufacturing?
Mainly, the Israeli economy now is depending on high tech. Israeli economy, they really depend a lot on high tech systems and security solutions. They call it security solutions that they create and they produce the metal detectors, the drones, the AI systems, and they say that it was tested in the occupied territories. They don't care. They say it openly, and the Israeli economy depends a lot on the high-tech technologies they sell to other countries. So what we have in Hebron will be soon in UK, soon maybe in Ireland. If you don't stop it, it comes to you.
So are the weapons manufacturers and cyber intelligence companies, are they supporting dictatorial regimes around the world?
Yes, I know that Israel is selling a lot of cyber systems to many dictatorships all over the world, from Kashmir to Africa to other countries. They sell a lot of cyber and surveillance systems to many countries. And they are trying to push even to other democracies to use certain systems to observe their people too. They are pushing toward dictatorship.
So just something I wanted to ask you about was the two-state solution. How viable do you think that is now? I mean, are we at a stage where it's no longer possible with the growth of settlements and the basically the breaking up of the West Bank into hamlets?
I'm not talking about solutions now. Many people tell me, 2 states, 1 state. We are in defense. I'm trying to defend my house from settlers' violence and settlers' invasion. They try to really make my life harder, to evict me and transfer me as a Palestinian from West Bank to Jordan, and transfer the Palestinians from Gaza to Egypt. So we are really defending what is left. So to talk about solutions on the time that we are losing more land and losing our identity, it's a little bit naive. But for who is talking about two-state solution, Israel is one apartheid state from the river to the sea. There is no 2 states. There is no infrastructure for 2 states. Israel built hundreds of thousands of settlement units. We have around 750,000 settlers in the West Bank now and Jerusalem. We see that there is no geographical continuity for a Palestinian state. They built in the last 2 years more than 100 outposts. 9 of them are in area A and B. The Israeli military raids H1 and A areas every day. Israeli soldiers raid Palestinian houses, they destroy the furniture, and they draw stars of David on the house, on the walls, on the doors, on the gates, and leave. What is 2 states? We don't see states. We see one apartheid state, which is called Israel, from the river to the sea. This is the reality on the ground now.
So if you were to reach a point where the situation was contained, because actually before October the 7th, the situation was pretty appalling also. There was increased settler violence and inaction, and in fact, it seemed that the Palestinian Authority are working hand in hand with the Israeli authorities in disadvantaging the Palestinian people. So where does it go to politically? Is there a political solution anywhere?
Nobody's trying to impose any political solution on Israel. The majority of the big countries support Israel blindly, and Israel would not be able to maintain the occupation for that long without the blind support of the United States, without the blind support of Europe, and without the blind support of United Kingdom as well, and many other countries. So Israel doesn't want peace. They don't need it. Why to do peace in the time they profit from the occupation? They build more and more settlements every day. They remove any infrastructure for Palestinian economy. They remove any infrastructure for a Palestinian state. And they really don't pay the price for their occupation. They don't pay price for their apartheid. They don't pay a price for their genocide. When they pay a price for their violation to the international law, I think the Israeli government will go toward peace. Without concrete actions to make the occupation costly, nothing will change. We will be in the same direction, and the violence and the attacks from settlers didn't start as a reaction to October 7th. No. From the first day of the current Israeli government, settlers attacked 𝗕𝗂𝗺𝗵𝗁 village in Nablus, and they burned the village. Hundreds of Palestinian cars were burnt. Palestinians were killed, and Israeli politicians and ministers were calling to whip out 𝗕𝗂𝗺𝗵. Whip out 𝗕𝗂𝗺𝗵, it's a Palestinian village next to Nablus. So the violence terrorist wave started before October 7th, increased after October 7th, because, the Israeli military joined the settlers to attack Palestinians and make their life harder. The Israeli government chose it as an opportunity when everybody is busy with Gaza to get rid of West Bank Palestinians and create more facts on the ground and build more and more settlements and do annexation. Because we say that now they are doing annexation of the West Bank without the Palestinians. I can say that, yes, we can make a peace, we can make a change when the Israeli government pay a price for their occupation and their apartheid, and they will be accountable according to the international peacemaking mechanisms.
But yes, assuming that can be done through international pressure, the reality on the ground, though, is that you have 750,000 settlers. What is going to happen when you have 750,000 settlers living in the West Bank?
Maybe we go to one-state solution with equal rights, equal votes, and redistribution of the land. It's a possible solution.
So, in that respect,
Palestinians are open for any just solution which will guarantee our equality and freedom and justice.
So do you see parallels between apartheid in South Africa and the struggle towards freedom in South Africa and your current situation?
Yes, a lot of what was happening in South Africa, we see it here. Even much more than what was happening in South Africa, we see it here. I think the Israeli occupation learned from the white supremacists in South Africa. And they try to avoid to let Palestinians establish an anti-apartheid movement here. But we are going there. There are many Palestinians and few Israelis now and are joining hands for anti-apartheid movement for one-state solution.
So how would you describe Israeli society today? Because it appears to have gone through a lot of changes in the past decade.
82% of the Israeli society is calling to transfer Palestinians from the West Bank and Israel, even from 48, and from Gaza to Egypt. That's the Israeli society. Yair Golan, 2016, he was the deputy chief of the Israeli military. He described what's going on in Israel as fascism. That's the Israeli society. The Israeli society is now, very honest, they support the genocide in Gaza.
So do you think, are they aware? Sorry?
But we have few voices in Israeli society. They are calling for peace. They are calling to end the occupation, end the apartheid. They are against the genocide. But the majority of the Israeli society is, unfortunately, pro what's going on in Gaza or the West Bank.
But do you think that's a reflection of the media landscape in Israel that is feeding a certain narrative and people are being led to a certain opinion, but they could easily be led to another opinion if the media were to change their viewpoint?
I'm very sure that the Israeli people, when they have outside pressure and their governments pay a price for their occupation, the Israeli media talks about peace, not wars and not genocide, many Israelis will change their opinions. They are human beings, and I believe in that the human beings, they change from bad to good.
Mm-hmm. So how do you think the Israelis can be more informed, given that they're exposed constantly to prejudicial media?
It's about that, with concrete actions to make the Israeli government accountable for their human rights violations and their wars and their genocide. The Israeli society will think about that there is a pressure from outside on us that we do wrong things. Second, tours to come to West Bank and see. Today I met Israeli people, and it was their first time, and they were overwhelmed and shocked from what they saw in Hebron. So I call the Israelis to come to the field and see by their eyes their occupation and their apartheid and their illegal outpost and illegal settlement. So media plays a very important role, especially international media. If international media tells the truth about what's going on, Israelis will know more, understand more, learn more, and they will be accountable more for their government's violations. Because now many media outlets hide the truth. And in Israel, they lead the population in a certain way. Not only that, the Israeli media is not free media. The Israeli media is controlled by the Israeli intelligence and the Israeli security forces. There is a lot of censorship on media in Israel. I have my friend Israel Fry was arrested for tweeting something on his Twitter account. And he's in house arrest. An Israeli Jewish journalist was arrested for these things. Why? Because there is no international pressure on Israel to act according to the customs, according to the international law, according to the principles and the morals of everybody on earth. Israel is the war maker all over the world now. Israel is the war maker. Israel is making wars with Lebanon. Israel is making wars with Syria. Israel is making war with Iran. Israel is making war with Palestinians. Now they want to make war with Turkey. If you hear the Israeli media, they want to make war with Egypt. They want to make war with Jordan. Why they do these things? Because of the blind support from the international community. They think that they can do whatever they want in spite that they violate the international law and they have impunity.
So why does
Israel is acting as wild as possible because of the media coverage of what's going on, and they try to be nice to them. Israel is the country of wars in 2020, 25, 24, 23. Israel, not Palestinians, not Lebanese, not Syrians.
So why do you think there's such strong support from the US administration for the Netanyahu government?
Many reasons. One of them is the media. Media is responsible about hiding the truth and justifying killing Palestinian children and justifying killing Palestinian civilians and hiding, killing them. The American support is there because of people don't know the truth on the ground. Second, for political reasons, it's a kind of racism and Islamophobia, and it's about religious views of that the Messiah will come, all these kind of, ideologies that, certain Christian groups, they want to support Israel from the river to the sea to be established, so the Messiah will come on one day. Unfortunately, this is the religious ideology behind a lot of support on for Israel. And politically, they see Israel as their white ally. It's a kind of, Israel is the white allies of the West.
So the evangelical movement in the United States believes in the second coming of Christ to Israel, and that the Israelis being there is part of that second coming plan. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Right. Interesting. So that level of thinking is affecting the lives of Palestinian people.
Yes, it's affecting our daily life. It's affecting our children. It's affecting our women. So we live in a very hard life because of this. It's a hard life. It's impossible life. It's miserable life we live because of this.
So the rise of the far right and Netanyahu's government, I mean, what prospect is there of peace under this situation at the moment?
Benjamin Netanyahu is the worldwide war maker. He's wanted by the International Criminal Court for his war crimes. So he's a war maker. He must be arrested soon. He's destroying the whole world. He's leading us to a third world war. This is Netanyahu. Because of his ideologies, because of his political, stance, that Israel will be from the river to the sea, that he wants to dismantle the Palestinian Authority and transfer the Palestinians from their lands and killing 60,000 Palestinian civilians in Gaza. It's Netanyahu. And their supporters too, because he has supporters and he has many friends all over the world. So it's not only Netanyahu, it's his supporters, and anybody is silent about this is participating in the genocide in Gaza and the transfer of Palestinians in the West Bank.
So Israeli society has no appreciation of what's taking place in Gaza?
The Israeli society has different opinions, Many of them, they support. I see that a lot of Israeli voices now are for ceasefire, to end the war in Gaza. But the mainstream media and the Israeli government now and the Israeli coalition in the Knesset, Smotrich, Netanyahu, Itamar Ben-Gvir, who have the power now, they are against any ceasefire. They are against ending the occupation. The ceasefire, then what? This is something very important. The international community should understand. It's not only about ceasefire. Ceasefire is very important to stop the killing of Palestinian civilians. But we need a political solution. Without a real political solution, the violent circle will keep going on. We want to end Israeli siege on Gaza. Not only ceasefire. We want the people in Gaza to live in peace, to live with dignity, to live in a normal, proper houses, and not to treat Palestinians as animals who are looking and, searching for food and shelter. We want Palestinians to be treated as a nation who deserves equal rights, freedom, and justice, and self-determination. This is how we can make peace. This is how we will prevent another October 7th. This is how we can prevent another genocide in Gaza, by a proper peace process based on international law, based on our morals and principles as a human being, that we all should oppose violence and protect humans. This is how we can make peace, to protect all humans and not justify any killing of any human. regardless of their nationality, regardless of their religion, regardless of their ethnicity. This is how it's a universe. Human being is a universe. We all should believe in the human beings, not in Israel. This is the point, that this is how we can make peace. I don't know why Israel is not making peace with all the Arab countries now. Everybody's telling Israel, come make peace with all Palestinians, and then you are welcome in the Middle East. They refuse that. They keep making wars. They think wars will make them stronger. It's the contrary. Wars is making them weaker. And we here in Palestine, we are ready. Two-state solution. We are happy and ready for that. One-state solution. We are happy and ready for that. Diversity is a strength, and it's not a weakness. So, Palestinians, Jews, Christians, Muslims, Israelis, we all can live equally in this land. Why we keep killing each other? Why we keep suffering? I don't know why. Why I don't know how the Israeli leaders think. Why they keep doing these things? You know, do we want to spend all our life in wars, in suffering? Look to the children in Gaza and the women and the people. They are refugees every 1 month, 2 months. They are, you know, touring Gaza. This is a human being life. Even animals should not face what the Gazans are facing. Animals should not face what we are facing in the West Bank as well. No enough water for human beings. No enough water for animals. No enough electricity and energy to control the import and the export, to control everything for 5 million Palestinians. And you tell me the problem are the Palestinians? This is naive. The international community should wake up and make Israel stop its occupation, its apartheid, its supremacy, its genocide. Israel should be accountable for making wars. If Israel is accountable for making wars, no other country will try to make wars as well. Israel is making, you know, what Russia is doing in Ukraine normal. They are legitimizing other countries to occupy other countries' land and kill other countries' people. This is what Israel is doing. They are giving Russia a gift from God to keep killing our brothers and sisters in Ukraine. This is what Israel is doing. It's not only on us. So it's on Ukrainians. It's in Haiti. It's in Taiwan. It's in all over. All over. You know, we'll start warring. War will start everywhere because Israel is not respecting the international law. And Israel is making wars with everybody around it. And the international community is silent about it.
So why has the far right become so powerful in Israel? Are there any social or economic root causes that has brought Israeli society to this position today where it is?
Because they are not accountable and they have impunity for their ideologies. They can do whatever they want. They can think however they want. At the end of the day, they are not accountable and they have impunity. So they are populist and they become as they are now. Fascism starts small and gets bigger. If you don't end fascism from the roots, it will go toward not control points.
But what is driving that move towards fascism in Israeli society? Why are people voting for these very extreme right-wing politicians?
It's about racism. It's about supremacy. It's about very extreme religious stance. And it's about economy too.
Okay, so does it come down to the economy really? Is it all about money at the end of the day?
Money is a very important part. Money and the religion.
So that's perhaps where people who are watching this podcast around the world can maybe make a difference in how they relate to Israel in terms of purchasing power.
Yes, Israel is getting a lot of power from outside, and that affects the Israeli society, that they don't pay price for their fascism, for their extremism. So they are part of the fascist global movement now. And it's growing, not only in Israel, all over the world.
So how does, for example, the dehumanization of Palestinian people enable fascism, and how does it relate to the experience of anti-Semitism and what took place in the Second World War? What are the similarities?
To be very honest, I'm against any type of racism. So Islamophobia, anti-Semitism for me are the same. I don't distinguish anyone. Islamophobia should be illegal, should be denounced, the same as any kind of other racism, among them anti-Semitism. You know, the Jews should feel safe, should be proud of their religion and visible with their religion, and nobody should go after them. And not only Jews and Muslims should believe that way. All human beings should have free speech, freedom of religion, freedom of being who they are and how they want to be, seen. That we should believe in diversity. We should believe that we have differences and we have, one goal is that I have my own privacy and have my own life as a human being, and I should have the same rights as everybody else in spite of my ethnicity and my origin and my religion as well, and my political beliefs. And to be very honest, in Israel, I feel that I'm not equal with my Israeli neighbors. They are under the Israeli civil law and I'm under the Israeli military law. It's very hard to live like that, to live as a second or a third class citizen in your country. But what hurts me more, that you find people in the world justify that and accept that inequality I live in and give it justification that it's okay. You deserve that. This is the right way to do it. It's for security. It's for peace. That I am a second or a third class citizen in my own house, in my own country, it's okay for them. This will make it okay everywhere. So if racism is okay here, anti-Semitism will be okay everywhere else. And the war in Gaza generated more anti-Semitism. And the Jews don't feel safe because of the war in Gaza, because of what Israel is doing. So Israel moved from protecting the Jews to putting the Jews in danger. And they are politicizing anti-Semitism, politicizing. They are using it as a term to shut people off, to shut Jews off, calling to end the war. So politicizing anti-Semitism means they are endangering Jews more and more, because the real anti-Semites will grow and they will have more power because they're hiding. Because now, if you speak against the occupation, you are anti-Semite. But you are not anti-Semite, really. You love the Jews and you are a person who is not racist. The real racist, they say, if that one is, they call it racist, I'm okay. I'm safe, I grow, and racism will grow, and Semitism will be stronger on the Jews. Unfortunately to say that. My friends, Jewish friends, feel it that way. They feel that Israel is putting Jews in danger. They're not protecting the Jews' lives, and they don't care. And something else, Israel is making a lot of friendship with a real anti-Semite leaders. Israeli government now is making friendship with many anti-Semite leaders because their main evaluation is, are you pro-Israel with its occupation and apartheid and settlements, or are you against Israel and its occupation and its apartheid? This is how they see people. So the Israeli government have friendship with many fascist parties in Europe, and they don't care. They care only to be supported in spite of what they do to Palestinians.
So I'd like to ask you, in regards to the judicial process, my understanding is that a Palestinian can be convicted and serve time in a prison under the Palestinian Authority. And then when they're released, they can then be rearrested for the same crime and put into an Israeli prison because of the Oslo peace accords. Is that correct?
Yes, it's correct. Unfortunately, the Palestinian Authority is misbehaving and acting as a subcontractor of the Israeli occupation. And there is a kind of security coordination between the Palestinian Authority and the Israeli military to suppress Palestinian any type of resistance. So me personally, I was arrested by the Palestinian Authority for my non-violence approach. We hope to reform the Palestinian Authority and have election to choose a new leadership. This is what we hope as Palestinians.
So has the Oslo peace accords actually undermined the civil rights of Palestinians, or has it improved them?
Oslo was very bad agreement. It was not in favor of the Palestinians. Oslo was trying to hide the occupation and keep the inequality and the injustice, because Palestinians don't have prosperity and don't have any real authority on their land, on their water resources, on their goods. So no import, no export, no water, no electricity. That's Oslo. Everything is connected to Israeli occupation. So Oslo made us officially under the mercy of the Israeli occupation to control the quantity of water we get. That's Oslo. The import and the export, it's Oslo. Oslo was very bad agreement for Palestinians. It was not about autonomy of Palestinians. It was not about a Palestinian state. It was about hiding the occupation and keep the injustice and the inequality in the occupied territories.
Yeah, so it sounds like the Palestinians don't have representation among themselves. I mean, you don't have representation that is beneficial to the ordinary Palestinian person, do you?
No, we, the Palestinians, we have a lot of great local leaders, and we try to really make them officials, and we want to make an election to push that leaders to become the official representative of the Palestinian people. But for example, we have a Palestinian leader in jail now. His name is Marwan al-Barghouthi. There is a consensus among Palestinians around this leader. So we have many good leaders, but they are either arrested or oppressed by the Israeli occupation.
Okay, so just wanted to get your thoughts on what do you think of the negative consequences of armed struggle for the Palestinian cause? Do you feel that? What are your thoughts on the armed struggle that's taking place?
When I chose non-violence resistance, I was wise and I know what I'm doing. And after the action of the Israeli government to October 7th attack from Hamas on Israel, I am more convinced that non-violence resistance is the way to protect Palestinian land, to protect Palestinian people, to protect Palestinian rights. The armed struggle is used by the Israeli military to justify destruction and to justify transfer and to justify building more and more settlements. This is how it was used by the Israeli government. It was used as the Israeli government to label Palestinians as terrorists, so we don't get international support and backup from our brothers and sisters all over the world. So non-violence resistance should be the only way to resist the Israeli occupation for Palestinians. And by the way, by the Israeli law, non-violence resistance is not allowed. So it's not that the Israelis allow us to use non-violence resistance. It's illegal to use non-violence resistance. Yes, for sure. The majority of Palestinians use non-violence resistance now, because for us, existence is resistance. Every mother who decided to stay in the targeted areas in spite of settlers' terror and army aggression is a non-violence activist. Every teacher who tries to go to his school and educate his students in spite of the Israeli military aggression and the Israeli military restrictions is Gandhi. Any Palestinian journalist who tries to put himself or herself in danger for filming the truth and exposing Israeli violence, Israeli occupation, Israeli apartheid is a hero. So we have a community of nonviolence activism, but people don't call it that way, but I call it as the existence is resistance. And for us, nonviolence resistance is part of our history, part of our community, and part of our future.
Okay, so moving on to how people can maybe help in their own way to support the situation in Palestine. What is the role of the BDS, the Boycott, Divest and Sanction movement, and how can people who are watching this podcast engage meaningfully?
I hope that from the people who are watching this podcast to come and visit us in the field and learn more about the realities of the Israeli occupation and apartheid. This is something very, very important to people that the people know. Something else, to level up Palestinians, because we are here and the Israelis are here. Level up Palestinian education, level up Palestinian sport, level up Palestinians' economy, level up Palestinian voices. Be creative, how to engage Palestinians in your daily life activism. So, to have joint artist activities, joint sport activities. So try to really engage with Palestinians' normal life with all its details. That makes huge difference. I'm in favor, and I love the Irish bill about making the settlement goods illegal, and any kind of relationship with the settlements is illegal. We should push the government to implement it. We should thank all the parliamentarians and the civil society organization who pushed for that bill. This is the most important bill on earth. Irish people, they are making the change. They are leading the world toward Palestinian freedom. They are giving us an example of real solidarity, real concrete actions to make the occupation and apartheid costly. So thank very much to the Irish lawmakers who are making this possible. I hope from the Irish people now to push their government to implement it, because I am very sure that many governments will follow. It's a big proud for people in Ireland that their government will lead to make the occupation and illegal settlements costly for the occupiers and for the Israeli government. This is something very, very important. We should all push for it and talk about it. And as an activist who's listening to me now, be creative and use any non-violence tactic or strategies to make the fighting the occupation part of your daily routine. And I'm here. I'm very happy to answer their questions. If they write to me, and to support us. We promise that we will not give up, but we want more protection, more support, more generosity for you, because we are in the field. We need a lot of resources. So don't leave us alone. We will continue our non-violence struggle, and we are almost there. We will win. Many people in the world, they are changing their minds, and people here are waiting a moment, the right moment, the right time, the right place to start the non-violence revolution, to go down to the streets and have the civil disobedience against the occupation, because we all in the same direction. The unity will make us stronger, and we are all we can make the difference.
So do you believe that it's a good thing then for our listeners to, if they find themselves looking at Israeli goods in the shop, for example, to not buy Israeli items in the stores, for example?
Yes, for sure. The Israeli occupation goods and the Israeli settlement goods, the Israeli products, should not be welcomed in any country. The Irish bill is very, very important. That the Israeli government should pay the price for their occupation, their apartheid, and their genocide. And that's one of the tools we can use to make the change.
So do you have any other suggestions for people to help make the occupation costly for the Israeli government?
We need media, a lot of media, that people know more, and politicians know more. Advocacy is very, very important. We need a lot of leveling up Palestinians. This is something very important. Scholarships to Palestinians, research to do your project in Palestine, your graduation project, your research project in Palestine. Come and do sports in Palestine. Come and do business in Palestine. Bring Palestinians to island. This kind of, making the occupation costly, because the occupation is trying to hide us. The occupation is trying to destroy our image as the Palestinians. And people are, if they are convinced that they should intervene, they can be creative. I believe in people creativity, and the people who are activists, they are the right people, and they are the ones who choosing to be in the right side of history. That's not a normal human being who be in that position and that situation, and they are not selfish. They act for public interest, and they act for human being interest. For sure, they can know their way to make occupation and apartheid costly for the occupiers and for the Israeli government.
So, Issa, I want to ask you, in coming to the close of our conversation, what gives you hope?
I'm always optimistic, and I have hope because of seeing many people in the world are changing their minds from supporting the Israeli occupation to support the Palestinian rights. I see a lot of Palestinians fighting, staying, remaining. That's hope for me. I see many Jews all over the world are disconnecting themselves from the occupation. That's hope for me. I see that Israeli occupation and apartheid is more exposed. The truth is coming out now, and we can really reach more people. And everybody knows that problem. The problem now is the Israeli occupation, not the Palestinians. And many people in the world know that it's not a conflict. It's a war on the Palestinians. It's not two sides. It's one occupation and occupied people. It's about oppressor and oppressed people. That's optimism. And for sure, the Israeli Prime Minister is wanted for the International Criminal Court. This is a big achievement. And I want more leaders to be wanted by the International Criminal Court and make them accountable. That Israel is accused of genocide. Yes, that's great. Israel is labeled as an apartheid state. That's new, and it's now almost consensus among people in the world that Israel is an apartheid state, because Israel was trying to sell itself as the only democracy in the Middle East. For many people in the world now, because of your work and because of my work and because all the activists work, Israel is the only occupation in the Middle East. Israel is the only apartheid in the Middle East. Israel is the only racist state in the Middle East, and Israeli government should be accountable according to the international law. This is what many people in the world think. This is what many people in the world see, and that's the way to make the change.
Well, Issa, I guess in closing, do you have any final words you'd like to say to sum up our conversation today?
My final speech is to thank all the people who stand with us outside Palestine. I want to thank all the British and the Irish people who go down to the streets every week, every time. We see them. And to be very honest, they give us energy to stay and remain, that we are not alone. This is something very important. So we thank them. And to be very honest, I exist because of their protection. I exist as a Palestinian activist because of your voices, because of your media, because of your social media, because of what you do. So thank you very much from all Palestinians here who are suffering from occupation and apartheid, for your activism, for your great, smart actions to help Palestinians. So thanks. And we promise you that we will never give up. We will never leave our land. And we want you to stay in solidarity with us and be more sure that together we will win at the end.
Well, Issa, thank you so very much for speaking with me today. And I look forward to being in touch with you, hopefully again in the future. And hopefully this podcast will help to support the bill to go through the Irish Parliament. It'll certainly encourage people to speak to their parliamentarians to encourage passage of the bill, because it seems to have got delayed somehow. So thank you very much for speaking with me today, and I wish you the very best. Thank you.
Thank you very much. All the best.
All the best. Thank you.